This is a dying profession now.
Okay.
It's not a very upcoming profession, so I wouldn't recommend people to consider it as a profession anymore because of the AI and the visual effects. Now it's become so much better, especially with the background enhancing and stuff like that. So the need for stunt artists is reducing day by day. Movies are made in such a manner where behind a movie, on a single set itself, there are almost 50 to 100 people minimum.
For me, honestly, stunt was Khatro Ke Khiladi. You know, that's what I thought of actors like Akshay Kumar previously, where I heard that he does his own stunts.
So every time you hear an actor or an actress who's performed their own stunt, remember that the stunt artist just rehearsed it at least 50 times
With them.
with themselves. So know that when an actor or an actress is also performing a stunt artist is designed it, rigged themselves on it, performed it, made all corrections, errors to, even reach to make it look that one take perfection.
Hello everyone. Today I have the incredible Sanober Pardiwalla with me. She is a Bollywood stunt woman and a celebrity fitness trainer. She has 5 Taurus World Stunt nominations under her belt. Let's hear from her what her life has been after doing 100 plus films. Hi Sanober, thank you so much for coming on Unmasked.
Pleasure is mine. Thank you for calling me.
Thank you. So tell me, what do you do and why do you do what you do?
Well, I really love what I do. I am a stunt woman. I've been performing stunts in Bollywood for almost over 2 decades now, 22 years, 200 plus Bollywood films. The Buck Cartel being the latest. If somebody watches the first episode, first 30 seconds. But yes, apart from that, I've done Donkey, I've done Doom series, I've done a lot of action films, and that's been my passion. I'm also a fitness trainer and a nutritionist, and I have also completed my doctorate in clinical hypnotherapy.
Wow, interesting. I didn't know so much of this information that you just shared.
Yes.
So do you remember your first stunt and what was it like physically and emotionally?
Well, one of the first stunts was also quite very challenging. First shoots that I had was for Aishwarya. It was on a film set, and I had to perform a couple of somersaults and land as a jewel thief robber. So, going through those laser lights like the Catherine Zeta-Zone famous movie did, the way she went through and, kind of went till the jewel, the similar kind of a scene we were trying to enact back then 22 years ago. And that was, I think, one of those first movies that I did. Then it was Hero Love Story of a Spy, where there was a massive bomb blast, and through that blast there is this girl Preeti Zinta who survives because she falls into the river, then which takes her all the way to Pakistan. So that was one of the first films. Even Booth.
So how does it feel when you're doing that? How did it feel back then, for 22 years as a woman? How did it emotionally feel and physically feel like? Do you feel safe? What's the feeling like?
Physically, it felt very good. It felt, you have to take care of your safety. I realized it very early in time and very early in age. You have to be responsible. You cannot blame it on the action director, or you cannot blame it on your team or even the riggers who are supposed to. It's their job to make sure that this happens, but yet you have to have a very good knowledge, not only about rigging and about, having this adrenaline in you to jump off a building or a tower or do something like that, but you also have to know physics. You have to understand physics. You have to understand your body's limits, your body's outer limits, and you have to twist and tweak the physics with the physique.
Oh, interesting. And growing up, did you always want to be a stunt woman, or did that just happen to you?
That actually just happened to me. I was called for an audition, and all they asked me to do was, you just have to go through those laser lights. But when I was on set, I was jumping from like almost 30 feet, somersaulting onto airbags and onto a lot of stuff. So yes, and then I realized I was very good with the camera. I could understand why there are retakes. I could understand why the hair flinches, what flinches with the hair and stuffs like that. And how sometimes in the camera, in certain angle, your face is shown. So how do you kind of cheat your body language where your face isn't shown? So all of those things is what really...
Interesting.
Yes.
To be honest, I'm still learning that, and my team is having, always having problem, to me to ask like, oh, look here, you do that side, or look here,
Oh, that's very good. That's big team that you have.
Because when I talk to guests, I get so much into like, I don't care what's happening. I want to face the guests, right? But they're looking at the camera, so they need to.
Make sure that it's also shown in a different manner.
Yeah, yes. So, okay, great. Now tell me, what's been your most challenging stunt till date?
Not the most, I mean, a couple of, I'll pick a genre and I'll tell you in which genre. So air, water, action. Oh, yes. But then we do into many categories. So air, water, fire, or cars and bikes, or a helicopter.
Wow, I think water. I'm hydrophobic, so I really want to know about what you did in water.
So in one of the stunts in water that I performed, my hands and legs both were tied. I had to wear a sari. Underwater. Sari reacts very differently.
Yeah, right.
And it's not the right costume to wear underwater with your legs and hands tied and you sinking almost 20 feet down to the bottom. So where literally your body doesn't sink. Even if you wanted to, it cannot sink. So you literally have to wear weights to give the sinking effect in front of the camera. So imagine if the camera is at 5 feet from the bottom and you're at 20 feet on the top, so your body has to sink at that speed to cross the camera to actually show the effect of your body sinking. So yes, that was, I think, one of the most difficult ones, because after you sink, there is no way you can swim up. You're in too many rates to sink yourself down. Plus you're not wearing underwater goggles, so you're practically blind.
Okay.
You have to calm your mind, you have to calm your nervous system, and you have to have faith in your rescue diver to come to you with the breath of life on time. So yes, that's how it was.
What kind of physical and mental training do you have to do, to do your job well?
Well, a lot. I do a lot of different forms of physical training. One being gymnastics, second being, strength training, third being flexibility training. So yes, a lot of physical importance is needed because of the kind of genre of work that I do for stunts. And mental, yes, very importantly, you have to ground yourself. You have to learn grounding. You have to learn breathing. You have to learn this to develop this invisible switch, which is an on-off switch, which is when you're doing stunts, you forget the rest of the world that exists.
Okay.
Completely turning it off. And then when you finish what you're supposed to do, all right, it's an invisible switch turned on. So you have to have that ability to do that.
Yeah.
And this ability, it's not that you're born with, but it just develops over time with practice, with more, persistent concentration towards what you do. Look at that. And that is very important with high-risk jobs.
And how do you train for fear?
Honestly, I don't fear. I never feared anything since childhood.
Oh, wow.
Till date, I don't know what do I fear. That's the fact.
Wow, I want to go deeper into this. What makes you inherently fearless?
Honestly, I don't see fear as anything on this planet to be feared of. I mean, everything has 150 ways to it. In fact, even more. There are 1,000 infinite possibilities to every situation. So if one isn't working out, there is the other, the third, the fourth, move on, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth, 10th. If there isn't one, create one.
But where did you develop this mindset? Like, I have a daughter. I would love for her to be fearless like you. I'm not fearless myself. I have, fear of, as I said, water or darkness or something or the other.
Okay.
But I would love my daughter to see that I'm fearless. Or what is fear? What are you talking about? So how do you think one can train their mind? Are there exercises?
Well, you have to understand it's not just about exercising, or it's not about deep breathing or breathing breath work, but it is also about understanding life, understanding the concepts and understanding infinite possibilities, having faith in infinite possibilities, allowing your mind to see beyond what your mind is even conditioned to believe. That is where you step into the unknown. And you step into the unknown with faith. You don't step into the unknown with the fear of unknown. You step in with faith.
Interesting.
And if something isn't going to work out, and if there is no possible level of anything that can make it work, I'll make it work. I'll create one. Create one if you have to, if you want to make it work. That's it. You have to have that mindset. You have to know, and you have to believe in yourself.
And how do you follow a routine for your fitness, flexibility, and injury prevention?
Oh, I exercise. In simple terms, I exercise. I eat healthy food. My food is very much curated to my needs. My protein intake is extremely important. A lot of us, kind of never understand the protein intake, especially if we are vegetarians or, if we are vegans. Many times people just don't understand the importance of it. Yes, you get a lot of fiber, so you feel healthy and, your system is flushed out of toxins and unwanted waste. But that still isn't sufficient for women with hormonal changes and with, certain age groups. So like, let's say until you're 25, your protein intake really doesn't matter because your body is supporting you in a different manner.
Right.
Post 25, the way your hormones change. Post 30, when your hormones change. Nearing your 40, the way your hormones behave with your body, you need to understand that having muscular strength versus, the appropriate weight, the muscular strength is more important, and hence the protein, which actually helps build your muscles, repairs your cells, your wear and tear in your system. So that is why that is extremely important, and that is one of the major focuses of my diet also on my daily basis.
Okay, a very interesting question. Being a vegetarian, protein is really important, and the sources of protein for us is very limited, I feel. Now, with the current controversy around fake paneer, what are the other protein options for vegetarians?
Well, tofu, soy, legumes. Now, legumes doesn't mean that you have to only eat it from the dal format. Just boil them. Boil them with quinoa. Boil them with barley. Boil them with khaskhas. You don't always have to eat dal and chawal. You can always have dal and khaskhas instead of rice.
Okay.
That can also serve you. So it's a millet. So replace rice with millets because that will give you some form of, it'll substitute some form of a better version of carb with protein and fiber, and add a little vegetable in it. Now, when I say vegetable, it doesn't have to be everyday mixed vegetables with it, but some form of vegetable with it. Some few, sprinkled form of veggies with it.
Yeah.
Mushrooms. One of your good zones. Eggs, but now since vegetarians don't eat eggs, soy, tofu, as I mentioned earlier. Paneer also. No harm in eating paneer.
Yeah, yeah. No, I think these are the sources, but every time when the demand for something goes up, there's also a possibility of, chemicals or fake food items being served,
Oh, it can easily be made at home.
Yes.
It is one thing that can be brainlessly made at home.
Really?
It's like any YouTube video you see in 5 minutes, you can make paneer
Yes.
at home.
Yes. Do you want to share your favorite way of making paneer?
Just simply break the milk, stir it, put it in a hung curd, put it in that strainer, and just let it happen. Let it set, press it, let it set, put it in the muslin cloth, put it in the fridge.
Nice, thank you. Now you've worked in 200 plus films, right? How has the stunt industry evolved over time?
Quite a lot. In fact, it's evolved way, way, way better now than it used to be before. Earlier, safety standards were not, we never knew what were safety standards. We never knew the parameters for safety. Earlier, if a stunt artist would get hurt, it would be also considered that, this is a part of your job, no, but. And it's been me who's been the game changer in all of these years also, where I have fought and I have, literally put my foot down saying, I am a stunt artist. It's my job to perform the stunt without getting hurt.
Correct.
And it's your job to make sure that this doesn't happen. And that this happens this way, that no stunt artist is hurt.
Wow.
Hurt in any format. So that is a big, over a period of time, putting the foot down, saying no to, things where safety isn't a priority or safety isn't even considered. There are no safety equipments given. You have to put your foot down. You have to have the ability to say no. It's okay if the project goes, but it's not worth it over your life.
Yes. Wow, more power to you, because it takes a lot of courage.
Absolutely.
And you're fearless. I mean, you have nothing to fear. So
It's the right for me to say no.
Yeah, and this is how it will be.
This is how it is. My life is important. You have to prioritize yourself.
Yeah.
Because, in earlier days, we never had knee pads. We never had those actual back protectors, the sheets and stuffs like that. And these days, we have such good stuff. Like, today if I would be wearing a kneecap, you wouldn't be even seeing through these pants.
Oh.
So we've got such good stuff now.
Interesting. Wow. And what's it like doubling for some of the biggest actresses in
Amazing.
Bollywood?
Amazing. I have doubled for every actress. Name an actress and I have doubled. Katrina, Kareena, Deepika, Alia. Name all your favorite actresses I have done for them.
Wow. And who's your favorite?
Aishwarya.
Jolly.
Yes.
Oh, nice. So how is it like when you're doubling for an artist? You meet them and like interact with them, or is it you shoot separately?
Basically, we shoot separately. We have, there are different units that shoot. So one is an action unit, one is a movie unit, one is only for, wider scenes and stuff like that.
Okay.
So usually we are shooting in 2 units, and when we are shooting action, it's a complete different
Setup, yeah.
setup.
Okay, interesting. And what does success mean to you being a stunt woman?
Success means to me, well, I've got a lot of Taurus World Stunt nominations and 2 Lifetime Achievement Awards.
Wow.
So I think that is one of the epitomes of success in performing stunts. But yes,
How does your family feel about, your achievements and awards?
I think they're very proud of me. They are happy. They think earlier they used to think that this was just a phase. You know how kids are. They love football one day, then they just don't want to play it the other day. So my parents also initially thought this is one of those phases, but it never ended. And then I got the first Lifetime Achievement Award, which was at the age of 24.
Wow.
They were super proud. They realized, oh, this is super serious. Like Lifetime Achievement Award at this age. So you've been doing it since the age of 12, which means,
Wow.
what not have you done to even achieve this?
Wow. Amazing.
So yes, that was, I think, one of the most proud moments of my life, and my family was really proud of me. I think that was success. And that's success.
Wow, I can totally imagine that. But have you ever had a period where you've dealt with self-doubt? And how did you overcome it if you did?
Honestly, no. I never had self-doubt on myself. Never.
Wow, you are I want to be her today.
I already say I knew what I was doing. So yes, there was no question of any self-doubt.
And how did you stay mentally sharp and so resilient?
Because I was very clear. I was always level-headed, very clear-minded into what I wanted versus what I didn't. If I was even experimenting on something or, trying to figure out something, I was also very clear about that, listen, I don't know if I'm going to study exercise physiology and nutrition, and I don't know if it's going to work for me. So I'm going to try it out for a month. If it works, great. If it doesn't interest me, I may, pick some other field or swap into something else that may interest me. So I was even clear at that stage.
What did you study to get into this profession?
To get into stunts?
Yeah.
No, to get into stunts, you don't have
So what
a formal education to get into stunts.
Exactly, yeah.
You have to be extremely sharp with your reflexes.
Okay.
Your body, your mind has to be super sharp. And then I was a child, I think I was a black belt in karate by the age of 12.
Okay.
So since the 3rd grade, I was in karate, and I think that really sharpened my reflexes.
Okay.
Then I was in swimming, then I was in gymnastics. My childhood was super busy. Super busy. Like I literally, the only time that I had for myself was to sleep.
Really?
You wake up, you have tuitions in the morning, you have school, then you have tuitions again, then you have your karate, or then you have your swimming, or then you have your gymnastics, then you're home. Then you have to do that school homework and the tuition homework.
Yeah.
And then you really want to sleep.
Yeah, you just pass out. Yeah, that's a good idea. I mean, I could do that. No. What's the one thing that people don't realize about the profession, or about being a stunt woman?
In fact, people don't realize, if people even knew that this profession existed was a big thing. Forget about realizing.
True.
So many a times our movies are made in such a manner where, on a single set itself, forget behind a movie, on a single set itself, there are almost 50 to 100 people minimum. Contributing to one scene. Wow. So today, if this was a movie set and this was a scene that, we were enacting, behind this, there were at least 50 to 100 people on this to enact and make it possible.
Oh my God.
So that is how movie making is. So yes, stunts is also one of those fields or one of the categories in movies which comes under this.
Wow.
Very less known to people.
Yeah. True. And for me, honestly, stunt was Khatro Ke Khiladi. That's what I thought. It is. Or I've seen like actors like Akshay Kumar previously, where I heard that he does his own stunts.
So every time you hear an actor or an actress who's performed their own stunt, remember that a stunt artist just rehearsed it at least 50 times
With them.
with themselves.
Oh.
So let's say if, let's not name, but let's say an actress is supposed to do her own stunt. So I have been rigged in that place and I have performed that stunt minimum 50 times to check the rigging, to check the speed, to check the cable, to check the fall, to check the camera angle, to check the lighting, to check the fall, to check if it's an outdoor shoot, to even check the exposure, to check everything.
Yeah.
That stunt is performed. When it becomes so safe is where the actor is rigged into the harness or an actress is rigged into the harness once to be doing it on camera. So know that when an actor or an actress is also performing a stunt artist is designed it, rigged themselves on it, performed it, made all corrections, errors to, even reach to make it look that one take perfect shot.
Wow. Thank you. I think only a fearless woman could go on camera and say that what it takes to be a stunt woman and what it takes for an actress to be performing her own stunt. So there is still another person or an expert behind it to make it happen for the actress. How do you recover from an injury?
Well, you have to. I've never had an injury, honestly, touch wood. And yes, but a little bit of body aches and pains and things like that. 1, ice bath. 2, steam. And 3, massages.
I love all three of them. Is there a secret to building trust with, the directors, our actors, and the entire crew?
Secret to building trust, well, you have to be just very good at doing what you're doing. That's it. You have to know your thing. You don't need to build anything, it automatically comes to you. You just have to build what you're building and do the best that you're doing, and automatically your work will be known for.
Okay. And could you name one actress who you think, who surprised you with her physical strength?
With her physical strength, well, Taapsee Pannu.
Wow.
She's very strong. She is super strong, actually. Wow. And the way she takes care of her body is also admirable.
Wow, thank you. And one myth that you want to bust about stunt performers?
You ask me. Myth? What's the myth?
You tell me, what do you think people have? What myth do they have about stunt women? Like when they see you or they meet you for the first time and they know, you're a stunt woman, do they have a preconceived notion which you think that, oh, this is so silly?
Yes, they always call you a stunt man. They always say that. And I'm like, stunt woman, stunt woman, stunt woman. The one where you saw me speaking?
Yes.
Even they themselves tagged it as stuntman.
Oh.
They themselves.
Wow.
So you see, that was a very women-oriented show. Let's not name it, but it was a very women-oriented show.
Yeah.
And our audience was 200 plus women.
Yes.
And I was on the stage.
I remember.
Talking to women, for women.
Yeah.
And the organizers labeled me as the stunt man. So I had to ask them to correct it. But
yeah. It's going to take a few more years for us to change the
concept and even accept that there is something called a stunt woman.
Yeah.
It'll had to literally ask them to correct stunt women.
Yeah, thank you. Great. And was there any time when you thought that, oh my God, I can't believe I just did that?
On a lot of stunts, yes. On a lot of stunts. Okay. Jumping out of choppers, yes. There was this one stunt that we did in the middle of a desert. I had to jump off a chopper, rappel down 80 feet onto a truck on that platform. We did that 13 times.
Oh my God.
13 times. And the truck and the chopper both are not stationary. Both are like moving in action. So
exciting. Yes. Do you think now, like earlier it was different, but with AI, do you think your job has changed, or do you feel threatened by the
Well, it's nothing like that. This is a dying profession now.
Okay.
It's not a very upcoming profession, so I wouldn't recommend people to consider it as a profession anymore because of the visual effects.
Okay.
Because of the AI and the visual effects, now it's become so much better, especially with the background enhancing and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So now the danger factor, where earlier, let's say, imagine you were, jumping off a cliff, you can jump off in a studio and make it look like a cliff and make it feel absolutely real. So the need for stunt artists is reducing day by day.
This is also very courageous of you to accept it.
Yes.
That, it's a dying profession and you don't advise women to consider it even if they...
It's a daytime profession, no. As a part-time profession, yes. But definitely not as your main bread and butter source of income, no.
Great. How, so this must be realization now, after...
It was long back.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
When did
It
you...
was when I was 18. So almost very long back.
Okay.
And that realization also helped me study further.
Okay.
I studied exercise physiology and nutrition for the fact that I realized that stunts is not going to be a forever profession. What happens when you turn 40? Or what happens when you, if you'd love to be independent, then you'll have to have multiple sources of income.
Correct.
And if you want to do that, then how do you do that? So you have to be a little smarter and wiser and more practical in terms of what you want to do. So yes, stunts is as good as long as it lasts, but at the same time, I need to have parallel professions. And today, that is exactly what I do have.
Wow, interesting.
So I built that foundation almost 20 years ago.
Wow. So you were prepared and you were mentally clear and you were not in denial, you accepted.
So today, let's say today, if even AI wouldn't be taking over, for women above 30 or above 35, being a stunt woman isn't the ideal career because it's you need to be physically very demanding. You need to have extreme great level of strength. Even at 40, you need to have a strength of a 20-year-old and a body of a 15-year-old. You see? Yeah. So that is very different. Then you need to also be so super mentally sharp. So irrespective of women, see, we women go through a lot of hormonal changes in our body. And those hormonal changes kind of, really affect differently to each person. Yeah. So this career, any which ways, was never a permanent career. Let's say if you have one fracture, or let's say if you have one foot injury or an ankle injury, you may not be able to perform those similar genre of stunts again. So what do you do then? And that is not the life turning point you can wait for to even think of another career or a profession, right? So, well, you have to be wise and you have to, make smart choices.
How interesting. Now, do you have any message for people who are watching this? I'm sure now they're not considering, if they were considering, being a stunt woman. But in terms of nutrition and fitness, if they were looking at a profession where, the industry is booming because we have so many illnesses and wellness is booming, nutrition is booming and fitness is booming. What are few tips that you could give them so that they could pick this profession? Where can they learn from? What books they could read, etc.?
Well, you have to understand and be more knowledgeable about the food you eat. You have to understand that what is served to you or what you are used to eating is not always the right method or always the right food that you're eating. As long as your body weight is in the healthy range, your body fat is in the healthy range, nothing to worry, don't change. But the minute you realize that that is shifting, or there are slight subtle changes where you're suddenly putting on weight and that weight is just not going. It's not your vacation weight, but it's your standard daily weight.
Yeah.
That's the time you start altering things and get more knowledgeable about food. Instead of just blindly following anybody or anything, become knowledgeable. Do not listen to people on Instagram. I strongly suggest no.
Exactly.
Research papers, PhD papers, people who actually studied, put time, effort and energy, university papers, who have actually, kind of done a proper strategic work on. Only read those papers, only listen to them, because internet is super confusing. And it's so today, everybody, just for the sake of making reels, they would give you those 10-second advices. Oh, have this is great. Oh, have that is great. No.
Yeah.
No. Don't listen to every reel that you see. Use it for entertainment purposes or your subject research purposes, but definitely don't blindly follow them.
Yeah, completely. Thank you for saying that. We also make a lot of reels in skin yoga and we give them tips. If there's something that you find interesting and you're like, is it true? don't just follow it blindly. Do your research.
Do your research.
This is so important to, instead of even books or reels or other experts that have marketed themselves really well, look at the university research paper. This didn't come to my
Or
mind.
come up with some backed out science. So let's say if there is a product in the market that you think that, oh, this looks good.
Yeah.
What is your lab qualification, or what is, how is it even good? Question.
Yes.
Question everything. Why?
Yeah.
How?
Yeah.
What is the authenticity behind it?
Exactly.
And that is something that you should trust about, rather than just going blindly and trusting anything.
I agree. That's what we started to do. I'm like, if I tell people, for example, don't use this product or use this product, why will they believe me? Why should they? Who am I? Nobody. Has this been backed by research? And if there is, we say that, okay, this is backed by
This research from this qualified institute doing this.
Yeah, so you have more reasons to believe it.
Yes, there is some authenticity towards the effort, trust, and
Yeah, because this is about your health and about your body.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you cannot just blindly listen to anybody or anything, but just actually do your own research and then follow.
Wow. Now, one question that my team really wanted to ask you. How was your experience in Dhoom?
Okay.
And what did you do?
So, well, I've done Doom series. So, in one of the experiences, I have been riding a bike, and Ritik has been turned and sitting on the tank of a bike, and I've been riding it at high speeds. That was one of the most exciting stuffs in Doom that I've done. I've also jumped off walls, cliffs, whatnot. You've seen the movie, what not have I done in it?
Wow.
Jumped from fire to road bikes to jumped off cliffs, everything.
Wow, great. Thank you so much. I mean, it's been such a pleasure to have you on our podcast and for you to share everything so fearlessly. I really admire that about you. Thank you so much.
Pleasure is mine, Jagriti. Thank you.
Thank you.